to another Elevate interview. I'm here with my man Andrew today, who has just been a guy that's brought a ton of energy to this community. It's been amazing having him in. And honestly, dude, I know we're about to talk about this, but when you first joined, I felt like you were a hermit in a shell, and now you've really broke out. And I can just see you scaling identities just in a little bit of time since you've been in Elevate, and I'm excited to see it just continue to blow up for you, bro. But welcome to the interview, bro. What's good?
Not much, man. I appreciate you having me on. This has been so exciting. I've been watching all the other guys, especially since I first joined. Like you said, it was just like I was like in my own shell in my own world. But no, it's been great. I mean, I'm connecting with more guys now, whether it's in business, fitness, just life. It's been absolutely great for just personal growth and just being a more outgoing person in general. It's been a journey for sure.
Yeah. And before we kind of dive into your elevated experience, let's just take a quick sidebar on the apparel right here, because something we were
Yes,
literally
sir.
just talking about before we hit record was the apparel. Talk to us about just how you've been repping it and what's been happening since.
Dude, it's been amazing. Like the shirt is so comfy. I was worried about it being a little too baggy, like in terms of just like length.
Yeah.
But it's been a perfect fit. I ordered true to size. It's been perfect fit, and literally I've went out with it 3 times, and every single time someone had stopped me to give me a compliment about it or ask where I got it from. Had this lady stop me when I was at Chipotle, and she was like, "I need to take a picture to send it to my son." So it's been amazing, bro. Just like being more comfortable in my identity and like just being Christian in general has been something that I'm really trying to work on. And with this apparel, it's been great to keep doing that.
Yeah, it's huge, man. It's something where Peyton and I, we knew we were putting God is working so big on the back of a shirt, and we knew it was going to take leaders who were bold in their faith to step up and represent it. And that's what's being done with this community and beyond this community. But I mean, story right here in yourself of being a bold leader in your faith, repping it out in public. You got moms taking pictures of it. Stuff like that. I even had a mom reply to one of my tweets, and she was like, "Hey, can I buy one of these for my son?" And she actually ended up DMing me, and she was like, "Hey, my son is not taking well to any male mentors or youth group or anything at church." She was like, "Would you be open to some sort of mentorship with my son?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So we actually got a call on the calendar. We're just gonna
Let's
see what
go.
happens, but man, the opportunity to just impact young men is one that I will never turn down. I remember being 16 and having so many questions about what's next in life. So I'm eager to get involved with that. But how long? I want to just start it off with how long have you been in Elevate? When did you first join? I think it was October.
Yeah, I was gonna say like mid October around there. End of August, somewhere in October around there. And bro, it's been one hell of a ride. I mean, I remember when we had similar conversation to the one you're talking about. Just like I think you reached out. It was because I know you guys before. It was through Justin, and I was
Mm.
just like following everything that you're doing. And then you DM me one day, and you're like, "Yo, you want to hop on a call? Like, I see you like being involved with everything that we're doing." And I was like, "Absolutely." And then
Yeah,
we hopped on a call, and everything changed from there.
yeah, 100%. It's something where you can see guys who are interacting a bunch, and that's kind of what you were doing. Like you were interacting with a bunch of tweets, and I was like, this guy's ready. He needs some sort of push, and that was when you're in that hermit shell, and that was
Yeah,
I mean coming up on a year now. Um, so let's just dive right in, bro. Like to your experience, just take us through why did you join? I know we connected, but what was the motivating force of you being interested and then taking the leap?
yeah, 100%. So I knew about Elevate. I want to say last summer, like around this time, maybe a little earlier, is when I like started following Elevate. I started following you heavily. I think I started following Payton too for a bit. And I was just like hesitant, like on the fence with that about it. and I thought it was mainly for like older guys for some reason. I even told you this in our call. I was like, I think it's for older guys. Like, I don't know if it's gonna be for me. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna fit in. Um, but yeah, so just to give some background context, like I just graduated college a little over a year now, and I had just graduated at the time. And I was just like just starting to get like to like find out my faith again, just like get closer to God, just like start reading the Bible and stuff like that. And I was kind of lost. Like I was like, I don't want to tell anyone about it. Like I just want it's my own thing. Like I'll read my Bible on my own. Like I don't talk to anyone about it. I don't share my views about it. Um, but I thought what you were doing was cool. Like just openly sharing your faith, talking to people about it, just not being. I don't want to say shy, but like it's not scared either. It's just like hesitant or comfortable to share your beliefs and
Yeah.
everything. So yeah, that's when it all started. And then I was following you, and I was actually going to get in, but then I was like, it's just the community I'm not going to click with. Like they're older than me. I don't know if we're going to like see eye to eye or like they're going to even relate to what I do. So then we hopped on a call, and then I was going through some stuff at the time, some girl problems, and then I was like, dude, like I basically like have not many people around me that have the same beliefs. And then you're like, dude, just like hop on a call, let's just chat. And then we chatted, and I remember at the end of the call, I was like, bro, if if there is like at least one call inside of Elevate that's like 50% of what we just had today, like I'm in, like sign me up. And you're like, I think you laughed and you're like, dude, that's every single call in Elevate. And I was like, okay, like let's just do it then. I was like, what's the worst thing? And then when I first joined, I was just like still like shy, like I was still like in my bubble, like not being very open about my faith, not being comfortable to share everything and who I really am. And then bit by bit, I had people reach out to me. They're like, "Yo, like we see you. Like, do you want to hop on a call and just talk? Like, just chat."
Yeah.
And I hopped on a call with a bunch of them, and some of them are even doing what I do in terms of like the online space, the money Twitter and everything. Like most of them are
Yeah.
doing something similar. They're similar to my age, and we just like connected about business, about entrepreneurship, about God, all this stuff. So like bit by bit, I start coming to the Bible studies, and I'm like, okay, like this is nice. And then I would like throw it on in the gym when I'm lifting, just like I pay more attention to it, and I'm like, okay, bro, like this is nice. Like I feel better just like talking about it, just being more involved with everyone because they're not the older crowd. They're not the older people that I thought they were, right? Like obviously you have like an age variety in there, but you
Yeah.
can like the people that are older than you are obviously going to help you, just give you more guidance, give you more support with whatever you need, as well as the people that are your age that are on the same path, that are doing the same thing, that might be going through the same exact thing I was going through, you know? So obviously I'm not the most involved person in the community, but yeah, it's been a ride. It's been great, and there's still obviously a lot to learn and more steps to take.
Absolutely, bro. One thing I want to just highlight is the relatability aspect because what you're saying is the reason I started this thing. Like, I didn't have anyone to share who I was with. Like you know, I was wanting to get into entrepreneurship. I was trying to find out what this whole God thing was about. I was hitting the gym, you know, trying to build my body at the same time. And I was like, are there like any young guys out here doing this? Like, yeah, I see young guys who are lifting. Yeah, I see young guys who are like in business, but I don't see anyone who's like putting all these things together. And I was like, I got to start something for these types of guys. You know, we got to send up a brand that attracts this type of man, and I feel like that's exactly what we've done, and I feel like that's exactly what you experienced with your hesitancy. So I'm just glad to be on this interview now. You know, almost 3 years into Elevate, saying that when we have a community of almost 200 guys who are pushing in every area, whether they are 20 or to the top end of our community 40, like they still share that equally yoked ambition in every area. So the relatability, number one. And then second point I wanted to make within that same thing is I don't blame you for not being bold in who you were, because that's what this world is aiming to do. You know, you have more inputs in this world today that are telling you, hey, you don't talk about your faith, don't share that. Like, it's gonna ruffle some feathers, it's gonna upset people, you don't want to do that, so just keep that to yourself. Like, that's fine, you can believe whatever you want to believe, but that's got to stay in Andrew's house, in Andrew's lane. Like, it doesn't go outside of that. And that's just so far from what we should be doing with our faith, and so far from what we should be doing with anything. You know, the good news of faith or health or business, like, everybody needs to be pursuing the best version of themselves, and it takes these leaders to step up, like we were talking about with the apparel, to just represent that faith boldly, represent what they're doing boldly. Hey, I don't have everything figured out, but you know what? Here's my intentions for where I want to go, and I'm going to document the process of the struggle that it takes to get there. And that's what we have guys doing, and yourself included in that, bro. So, man, just major props for coming from that, jumping into this community, and then now, like I said, you're coming out of that shell tenfold, bro. And the thing is, it feels like it's just the beginning. I know you got so much more room to grow. The potential is crazy, man. Honestly.
Yeah, 100%, bro. And back to the point where you're making of like you believe in God, just like keep it in your home and don't bring it out. I can name like two or three incidents like on the top of my head where I would like say something about um, like a verse that I read or something that I believe in terms of being Christian or in terms of believing, and someone will be like, "I believe in the same thing." I'm like, "We've been friends for how long? We never were really open about it, or we never really got to fully discuss what we believe in or what we do." Right. And it's just like, all it takes is one, bro. Like, all it takes is just like one person to bring up God, bring up the Bible, or like, even like when I travel now, like I have my Bible right here. It's just like, it's always in my bag. It's always next to me. Um, I'm like, it happened many times where I'm like, I would bring it and someone would see it and be like, "Do you read the Bible?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Dude, me too." Like, I'm like, we've never really like ever discussed that before, you know. So seeing,
Yeah.
obviously, I have a lot more still to do, but just seeing these results in terms of just like speaking about it openly and like not being hesitant or just being comfortable talking about it in general has been an absolute game changer for me, whether it's in business or just in life in general. It's been great for both.
And I think one thing you'll discover when you start to do that, for anyone out there, is people are searching. Like, people are seeking, man. They're looking for a source of security, fulfillment, for purpose. Like, that's what everyone is doing in this life. And if you're gonna be that seed, if you can plant that one seed, like you had said, it just takes one conversation about a verse, about the Bible, one prayer, whatever it might be. People are going to latch onto that when they realize the sense of fulfillment they can get, you know, from their faith in God. But I want to go back to when you had first joined, because I feel like that's where you were at. Like, you know, like you're saying, like you were stepping into your faith. I felt like you were kind of like Bambi on ice when it came to just an identity and a strong identity in God. And we can get through, you know, how we work together one on one a little bit later. But I want to just specifically talk about coming into Elevate Bible studies. You know, being a little bit apprehensive, a little bit skittish about diving all in. I know you jumped on a few Bible studies early. Like, what was your experience getting in the Word with guys when you were kind of like, I don't know?
Yeah, it was definitely strange to me at first. I'm like, I'm not used to this. Like, I'm not used to just like sitting down and talking to anyone about it. Like, I wouldn't even talk to my own family about it. My mom obviously is a big believer, and props to her. You know, I wasn't even comfortable talking to her about it. You know, there's been many times where I would like read a verse or something, and I'd be like, that would be cool to like discuss, or like I would read something, and I'm like, I don't really agree with it, or like I don't understand it fully, and I think she would be really happy if we discussed that. But then I'm like, actually, no. I'm like, I'll just keep it to myself, you know. And it was the same thing with this. Like, even when I first hopped on, like the few first ones I hopped on, I had like my camera off, like my mic was muted the whole time. I'm like, to a certain extent, I didn't feel qualified to like even discuss it, which was the biggest thing. Is like I didn't feel like if you're not an entrepreneur, you don't talk about entrepreneurship. If you're not an athlete, you don't really talk about sports, right? I felt like
Yeah.
I didn't have enough qualifications to talk
Mm.
about the word or talk about God or discuss the Bible, you know, which
Yeah.
can't be further away from the truth. So
Yeah.
then I hopped on, and then I've seen these guys have like open and honest conversations, like heart to heart conversations, and it's just like breaking down what the word they read, and it's just like it's not like this is what it means. It's like this is how I see it, and this is how I interpret it in my head. What do you guys think? And then
Yeah.
someone else would be like, no, I mean, I that's a great point. I thought about it this way, and then you're like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. I never even thought about it that way. You know, so just having all these different inputs as we all try to figure out what it means for us, what it means for our life, what it means for everything else. It's been great because again, you don't have to do it on your own. Like I have a hard time understanding some of the words, and like I have to look it up and stuff. So just like seeing other guys that look at it from a different angle or understand it in a different way, it's been great, bro, to just like break it down and like look into it further that you couldn't have even done it on your own.
Amen to that, man. I think one thing you mentioned in there before the Bible studies was not feeling qualified. And, for me, somebody who produces content on the Bible regularly, like, talk about feeling disqualified. But my greatest superpower within that has been I don't know. Like, being able to just answer the words I don't know in this world is a superpower, dude, because this world wants to isolate you and challenge your beliefs because everyone is insecure in their own beliefs. Nobody has a spine or a backbone with what they believe. There's no values to what people believe. So they go on the offense, they go on attack, and they try to challenge yours before you challenge theirs. And that's why you see, on social media, everyone's just attacking everyone about
Only
what they
Twitter.
believe. Yeah, because it's like, don't attack me because I'm going to come to you first. I'm going to bring the offense to you because my defense is very weak. But when you're a Christian and you feel that disqualification and people challenge you on something, just being like, listen, like, I don't know. Like, here's where I'm at with my faith. Here's where I'm at with my relationship with God. I'm looking to learn and discover more every day, and I don't know that yet. Maybe come back to me in a year or two, 5, 10, whatever, and we can have that conversation. But right now, haven't got there yet. Like,
And the best part is you don't
and
have to have it figured out. Like it's, you know,
for sure,
but two things you said about that is like there's so much like it's either my way or it's wrong, you know, and that's the biggest thing I learned in here. It's like, bro, I don't know, but like let's talk about it, see if we can figure it out or leave here in a better space than we started, right? Like that's one thing I learned in here is like just let your guard down a little bit in terms of like maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe the way I read it or the way I understood it or the way I'm looking at it is not the right way. You know, maybe the way
yeah,
you're looking at it is not the right way either. You know, but it gives us that space to have that conversation, to have that heart to heart again, without having to get so defensive, without having to even feel judged. Like that's the biggest thing is like I can just have a conversation. I could say something completely wrong, and again, I won't be judged. That's been the biggest thing. It's like, bro, we're all learning. Like, I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. None of us is perfect. You know. And
yeah,
when you say you've been posting content about the Bible, it made me remember one of the first pieces of content I saw of you was you. I think in this black Elevate shirt, or it could have just been a black shirt. And you had your black coffee, and you're like, this is the verse of the day, or like you were doing something daily. I forgot exactly how you worded it,
yeah, yeah. It was
but
Fridays.
yes, it was those. And it was just like, I'll read it, and then we'll just like talk about it real quick. It was like a quick like 2-3 minute video. Um, but that was the first piece of content I saw of yours, and I was like, who is this guy? And then I think and then he did another one. It was like the different types of Bibles. Like if you're a beginner, like read this one because it uses simpler words. It's not as complicated. And you broke down the different types of Bible, and I think you had like a whole thread. And I think I remember like going through the entire thread, and I was like, huh, I never even knew there was like different types of Bibles or like different way. I guess it's written like just like more simplified. I guess is the
Yeah.
right term. So yeah, these are like the first two pieces of content I remember seeing of yours. It's so funny when you brought that up.
Yeah, that's honestly amazing to hear, bro. It's wild to just hear that. Obviously, I'm consuming. I'm kind of in the forest. To
Yeah.
hear somebody who's getting that. But one point I did want to highlight of what you said earlier is just the open space we have and Elevate to share and not feel judged, because I believe that only can happen when you have people who are rooted in God because they're secure in who they are, so they're open, and then you have people who are also looking to grow, because we as a community and as individuals within that community understand I'm not where I want to be, so I have to be open to new ideas, thoughts, beliefs, perspectives, because I have to change something to get where I want to be. I can't keep the same thoughts and beliefs and become the man I want to be. Like, today's beliefs and thoughts don't serve that man in 20 years. And so I think that's what happens when you have a community of dudes who are on the same page, who are equally yoked in ambition. They're open, and it's just like, let's just grow, let's figure it out and grow, let's put all this drama and this just lowly whatever. I was gonna go to a cuss word there, but cleaning it up, man. So let's just put all this garbage aside and let's focus on what truly matters, and that's our growth, and we're all open to that, and that's what we have. So I think it's just what you see when you have people who are on the same page about where they want to go. But within that, I want to dive deeper into just some of the one-on-one connections you made in the community, because, like you said, you had guys just reaching out, and now you're almost a year in. So, like, outside of community aspect, what's just been the one-on-one dynamic been like for you?
So I mean, aside from like working on with you one on one, obviously Austin has been a great help. Peyton, like I remember when I first started, I was going through like a rough time in terms of just business and everything that I was doing back in I think November or around there. Um, and I remember I was just like, I have no one to talk to about the two, like business and God. And I
Mm.
remember like dropping it in our chat. I was like, is there anyone free to just jump on a call? Like I just need to like just chat it out. And then Peyton was like, yeah, bro, like let's just jump on a call, And it was I think it was our second call, bro, and it was just like flowing. Like it was just like I've known you guys for years. It was just like
Yeah.
there's no anxiety there. There's no like I have to say the right thing, if that makes any sense. It was just like conversation, like you're going through something. Let's just try and figure it out and talk through it, whether it's about God, Christianity, or just even business, which has been an amazing thing.
It's huge, bro. You may have just answered it, but I feel like the next question that parlays me into is just like, what's been your just favorite dynamic of Elevate as a whole?
Everything. Um, do they know about the new thing you're starting with, like inside of Elevate with all the entrepreneurs and stuff?
Yeah, we
Okay,
talked about
okay,
it.
yeah. So that's honestly is my favorite thing. Like that's absolutely the thing I'm like so excited about. Just to see like how everyone's doing different things, like different types of businesses, different types of companies, entrepreneurial stuff, right? But always tie it back to how you're doing it with God, how you're doing it to serve your purpose more than anything. Like one thing I get consumed with a lot is like, I just want to be as successful in certain things as much as possible, but it's so easy to get caught up in this, especially as a 23, 24, 22-year old. Like you focus so much on this that you take your eyes off of the main thing, right? Like how
Yeah,
you can do it with God, you can do it while being a Christian, right? Like these two don't conflict; they go hand in hand. Actually, if you're not taking care of if you're not praying, if you're not reading the Bible, if you're not taking care of God, in a sense, everything else is going to crumble. You know, so that's been my favorite thing. Obviously, the second favorite thing are the calls, whether it's the
mm,
Bible studies or all the other types of calls that we do. They're my favorite thing, bro. Obviously, like I'm slacking a little bit now in terms of just showing up to all the Bible studies.
Yeah.
But yeah, whenever I get time, like I jump on. I'm on all the calls, like God's working call, the financial call, the fitness. Dude, every single one has been an absolute great thing. And the third best, maybe it's not the best, but it's the challenges that we do inside. The 75 hard, the 3 day fast. I didn't do the recent 2 days because I got caught up. But yeah,
Man.
nah, they've been great, bro. Like it's all these things. Like I know me and you talked about it. Like when you put in the like, let's do a 3 day fast. I'm like, dude, I was literally just thinking about that, but I had no
It was
one. So
4.
I was 4 day. I did three. I couldn't do four. I did three. But when I remember when you put it, it was like that morning. I was like, I want to do some sort of fast, like a few days, but I had no one to do it with. So just having someone around you that's like, we're constantly in there, just like updating, like, okay, I'm on day two, and like energy's kind of low, like I'm getting a little irritated, like I'm not working out as much, or like I'm on day one and I feel great, like I had a black coffee and I'm just like absolutely buzzing,
Yeah.
just like having someone there with you every step of the way makes it 10 times easier, especially with 75 hard. Like I know me and you were talking and it was just like, dude, the last week killed me. I'm like, I did fine the other days, but it was just like that last week where like you don't want to drink the gallon of water. You don't want to go for a run or go for that walk outside because it's freezing cold, because we did it in January. It was like killer. And you had to walk in like storms and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, these three, no rankings, but these three are like my absolute favorite things about Elevate, hands down.
Yeah, community, man. I mean, that's what it's
Yeah.
all about, being in the trenches together. And January 1, 75 hard is coming back. So I hope
Huh?
you're,
Nah,
yeah,
I'm
bro.
sending that one out.
You
Nah,
got to get in,
we'll
man.
probably run it again, bro. I was so dialed in. That was actually insane. Like just having everyone around, and it was just like I think it became a little bit of competition at the end. It was just like we have like X amount left, so don't be the one that drops out and messes it up for everyone. So that little bit of banter too makes it fun more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, consider this. Like, you head into a new year. Every time heading into the new year, ambition is high, goals are high, vision is high, and you have a community surrounding you as you step into the challenge of
Yep.
75 hard. And Jan 1, during the winter, when no one wants to do it, the most brutal time, and you take it down in Q1. Like, that's how you start off your year, is Q1 crushing 75 hard. Like, come on, the year is set up for success. And that's exactly what we got to experience heading into 2024. And I mean, we did it in 2023 as well. So 2025 is going to be no different, dude. I'm riding that wave off of Q1, and that's going to get me Q2, 3, 4, and we're going to crush, bro.
Yeah, bro. It was actually I was so upset having to do it in the winter, but I was like looking back at it, like I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. Like it set up the year at such a high note, that you really like you can't live it down. Like you have to keep the momentum going. You have to keep everything going because you did all the hard stuff in the first day of the first year. So you got that out.
Yeah, and if you want to, like, I think it's a testament to being a part of this community. Like, if you want to be a part of a community of guys who are, you know, pursuing the best version of themselves, then it's stepping up to the plate when it comes to 96 hours of fasting, or, doing 75 hard in the dead of winter when 99% of people would never do that. But we're not trying to, be 99%. We're trying to be top 1% here. Like, we're trying to display what it means to walk with God. So, yeah, bro. I mean, I know I'm just preaching to the choir with you right here. I know you're on the same page as me, but firing myself up and hopefully firing some guys up who are listening to this. But let's transition to working one on one together, because I feel like that was a time where your identity grew a ton. I really felt that, and I just felt like that's when you really just came out of that shell, and I just saw your energy start to really peak. Like, I think you have a ton of energy to bring to people, dude, and bring to community and the people around you. And I think that it's just beginning as well. I think there's, like I said in the beginning, like you have so much more potential here, and I can't wait to just see it get tapped into. But take me through, like, diving into that. What was your thought process going into that? And then, like, what did you see throughout those 12 weeks or 8 weeks, I guess?
Yeah, it was like at first I was like, yeah, like we'll just see how it goes, you know. Like I wasn't expecting too much, I guess, just because I didn't know what to expect. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I didn't really have any expectations, but I was very excited, um, just to see the outcome of it. You know, and that first day was what changed everything. You know, like when we sat down and we chatted, and then the rest of the week was just like the first step to, again, embracing that man and embracing that person that I wanted to be and I know I can be. You know, so it was just like it was a game changer for me, and it wasn't like an overnight thing. Like it wasn't like after the first week or two I was like, oh yeah, I feel great. You know what I mean? Like I told you, like I during one of them, like one of the weeks, I hated you, you know, because like it was just like so challenging, just like so uncomfortable, especially coming from someone that hates change, like in terms of like what I do on a daily basis or like day to day is just like I like to do the same thing at the same time, and I don't like to change anything just because it disrupts my pattern, you know. And I think I perform
yeah,
best when I have a pattern going. But this was a good pattern interrupt because it allowed me to like tap into some of the stuff that I knew I had and I knew I needed to work with in terms of growth. You know, whether that's
mm,
having conversation with some people or like having a conversation with myself, you know, that I just kept putting off. Um, but that's what it helped me with in terms of like just growth in general. Just like personal growth, and again, taking a step closer towards that ideal version of me, or that better version that I know I have, or that I know I can become.
yeah. Love the challenges you're talking about, because there was a lot through that 8 weeks where I was just challenging you, like, hey, go have that hard conversation, that vulnerable conversation, do that difficult thing, carry that cross, whatever it is. But the challenge that you referenced, hating me, let's unpack that one experience because it's something so unique and it's always caused massive breakthroughs for every single guy I've worked with one on one. But it's the 12-hour walk is from my man Colin O'Brady, and what it is you essentially just go out for 12 hours, zero inputs, no phone, no podcast, no music, no reading, no nothing, just you, your thoughts alone for 12 hours. And this is something that I challenged Andrew with, and he went through it despite his resentment towards me because of it. He definitely had some big breakthroughs, but walk us through that.
Yeah, well, to preface, it was like the first couple hours was the worst time of my life. You know, it was just like so difficult. I remember listening to his podcast. I think it was with Ed. I
Oh
think it was
yeah.
Ed Milet, right? And he talks about it, and he was like, I got dropped off, and where did he get dropped off? Wasn't it
Oh, it was
Alaska, like where he had to actually do?
Antarctica.
Oh, Antarctica, Alaska.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, he was doing the trek, like it was like a 2 month trek across
yeah,
Antarctica, and there was like one other guy who just so happened, like this is something that no one's ever done before. One other guy
yep.
who did it with him.
They were almost like racing to it to a certain extent.
Yeah,
But like hearing it didn't sound fun. I don't care if you're doing it in Antarctica or you're doing it here outside. It just doesn't sound fun, especially as someone who's involved with like social media or like work online or anything like this. Like I remember telling you, I was like, bro, I don't know if I can leave my phone or like not be in front of my laptop for 12 hours. You know, like everything will crumble.
yeah,
Um, but then it just played out perfectly. Like I didn't have much work going on that weekend, and I was just like, I'll just do it. So then the first couple of hours, you're just like, your brain is just like, what are we doing? Like I'm racing, just like everything from the past, from the future, everything is coming up. But then after a little bit, bro, you just like not make peace with it, but like you can only repeat these thoughts so many times without figuring it out to a certain extent.
mm,
You know, like you can only have anxiety about one thing without you figuring out a way to fix it, or being stressed out about something in the past without having to figure out a way to either forgive yourself for it or just let it go, you know? So that was probably the biggest takeaway. Is just like it's fine. Like it's nothing is as big as it seems in your brain
Mm,
to a certain extent. Like, yeah, we can make a big deal about it, but like, if you're not dead, if you're not in the hospital, or if you didn't lose a loved one, then you'd be all right.
yeah,
That was the biggest thing. Is like your brain just makes it a much bigger deal than it really is.
absolutely, dude. I think two points there I want to make off of what you said. Your brain makes it a lot bigger deal. I think it's the thought of fear, and fear is so short sighted. Like it's right here. It's like if you took a penny is small, but if you put it in front of your eye, it looks really big, and that's what fear is to us. It's so small, but we put it right here, so we're blinded by it, and that's what we do when it comes to these things. We blow up these mountains. We make these molehills into mountains in our mind, so we don't take that path that's scary, that's fearful, even though it's like, you got through it. It's like, it wasn't that big a deal. And then the second thing I want to mention is I can relate to what you're saying about everything's going to crumble, right? Like if I take a full day where I'm not tapped in online, I'm not tapped into my laptop to work, like, oh my God. And that just shows our insecurity in what we're doing. That shows our lack of identity in God right there because like we're getting 12 hours alone to go talk to God. Like if anything, we should be pumped about that and pumped about what we're going to come back to with the breakthroughs we're going to come back from afterward. Not, oh my God, I got this FOMO of what might happen in the internet space or in my business that I may miss out on when I get back after 12 hours. So I think it just highlighted so much. And I know that we had very lengthy, I think, two conversations about just the
Yeah.
experience of the 12-hour walk. So it was a ton of fun unpacking that stuff with you, dude. What would you say, just if you had to just say, like, there was one thing you got out of that experience working through elevated identity, like, what would you say is kind of that one thing? Like, I'm glad this happened. I'm glad I got this, or this was the biggest benefit for me.
Out of the 8 weeks, or out of just that walk?
The 8 weeks.
Oh man, just one thing. I think it's the biggest thing is just like questioning your thoughts a little more to a certain
Mm,
extent, because like you said, like sometimes you stress out about something, or you think something is one way but it's really not, but it's like you said, it's just like right here, so you need to like take a step back and go for a walk, go for a run, something to just like ease your mind up a little bit, just so you can take a different look at it, or look at it from a different lens and a different perspective, you know like I used to get like really bad anxiety, is just like being an anxious person in general, so that has helped me a lot in terms of just like, bro, like it's really not as big as you think, or not as
yeah.
big as you're looking at it, just like take a step back, look at it from like a different lens, look at it from a little further, and you'll see it's not that big of a deal. It's like you can either figure it out, let it go, or just like it's not going to hurt you.
And I think that that's what putting our faith in God does. Like we're meant to renew our mind. We're meant to renew our thoughts. So it's like if you're not questioning your perspectives and your current thoughts, you're probably not growing. Like you should be changing. You should be evolving. You should be challenging those old thoughts. So that's a huge takeaway from that, bro. But let's pivot back to Elevate real quick. I'm just gonna hit you with some rapid fire questions to kind of wrap this thing out. Just like favorite features, stuff like that.
Okay.
Um, so hit me with you can go as deep as you want to go. I'm not
Okay.
gonna cut you off, but favorite just feature of the Discord as a whole.
The calls,
Calls, cool.
just like having the
What's your
calls every
favorite?
week.
I was gonna say what's your favorite channel within the community?
Um, well, now it's the entrepreneur one, but
Ha,
before
let's
that
go.
was probably the fitness one.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's a training one. It's a training channel. Just because Jake is always dropping dimes in there, and guys are just always like it's so cool to see guys that haven't ran in 2-3 years, and now they're getting back to running just because they're being motivated by other people, or just like seeing guys that are training for marathons, training for half marathons, all this sorts of stuff. So that's probably my favorite one after the entrepreneur one.
Yeah, pumped for the entrepreneur one. We got
Yeah.
2 dogs that are going to be leading that.
Yep.
So can't wait for you to be able to connect more with those guys and learn from them. We're kicking that off, rolling it into August. It's going to be first Tuesday and third Tuesday in August.
Let's
Are those
go.
calls, those bi-weekly. So we'll be rolling that out soon. But if you had to sit down with 3 members from the community to get lunch, and I'll exclude myself because I know you'd pick me, but I'll exclude myself here. Who would those 3 guys be?
It would probably be, I would say Isaac, because we had a conversation that was very, very nice. Peyton and Alex. Alex is a cool guy. I still have to chat with him. I know we try to set something up, but then my schedule got too crazy. But yeah, me and him talk a lot on like Instagram and stuff. So yeah, he seems like a cool guy. So these are the 3: Isaac,
Cool.
Peyton, and Alex.
Love it, bro. Second to last one I got for you is just like, what are you most looking forward to with the future of Elevate and just where we're going?
More apparel, for sure.
Here we
That's
go.
the biggest thing. But yeah, more apparel and definitely the entrepreneurial calls. I'm really looking forward to those.
Awesome, bro. We got to get these things started ASAP,
Yeah.
man. You got me wanting to get on one
I
today.
know, dude. Let's run it.
There we go. Last question I got for you. If somebody listened to this, man, and they're considering, joining Elevate, what advice would you give to them?
Dude, just go for it. If you think this is not going to help you, or if you think you'll be in a worse spot than where you are right now, then it's your brain lying to you. Because as someone who was in the exact same spot as you, I'm telling you, it's a lot brighter on the other side. Like, it's a lot easier to do this whole thing if you have someone with you, if you have people around you. Plus, I'm trying to put my own friends into it, So, bro, if you're looking for a group of absolute dogs that will push you to do harder, will have deep conversation, if you're into like deep intellectual conversation that will get your brain going, or if you want a safe and open space for you to just chat or have some more friends and people you can rock with, this is your place. This is your guy.
Man, appreciate that, bro. What I guess I'll throw in a bonus question for you. What event we gonna get you to, dog?
Dude, I know. That's been like the biggest thing for the past I want to say 6 months or so.
I've been trying, man.
I know, because
Trying my hardest.
I was gonna come to the one in, what was it, was it Arizona? It wasn't Arizona. It was the
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. Yeah, I was gonna come to that one, and then it got moved, and then I was in Colombia, and then you have one coming, what, August?
August 7th. Hey, there's one spot open.
Dude, I don't know if I can come to that one. So we'll probably have to plan one for the next one. We might just keep it for the Costa Rica one, bro, honestly.
Here we go. We can do that. All right, bro. Well, appreciate you taking the time, man, to jump on and just share your experience. Appreciate everybody listening. Take it from Andrew, jump in. We do have 30-day money back guarantee. So, if you don't like it in the first month, if you come in, connect with Andrew, and you're like, oh, this guy sucks, I'll refund you your money and send you on your way. I thought you were going to have a comment about that one.
Yeah, dude. If you come in, you have a conversation with me, and you, for some reason, absolutely hate it, then, yeah, Matt's going to give you your money back. But I don't think it's going to happen, bro. For sure.
And Andrew will pay you $30 on top of the money that
if
I
you have a
send you
conversation
back.
with me and you don't like it, I'll give you $30.
You could potentially swing down 30 to up 30 by joining this community. So come in, connect. Oh, man. But appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to stop this thing. I think I got it. Oh, it says
Yeah, it's 90.